That was actually really good. Like the sound of that's like commercial worthy.
Dang, really?
Yeah, wait till you get. That's so gross.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, it's so gross.
I didn't think it would sound gross, but okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it sounds like. I can't hear
That
it.
just
But,
wait till you hear the crack on that in once we film this thing with the mic.
dude,
Is like quite literally commercial worthy.
maybe I can send it to Coca-Cola for like $1 million or like unlimited Coke
Yeah.
or something.
Well, we'll tag them in this one for sure.
Yo, what up, Coke?
Yo, what up, Coke?
All right, welcome back to episode number 10 of the TCP. It's a Friday night. Yeah, but
Live
it's a
from
Friday
Riverside.
night. Yeah,
It's Friday. Live from Denver, Colorado, and Richmond, Virginia. It's Friday night.
yeah. So you guys don't usually get to see us on Friday nights, so it's a lucky week for everyone, I think, because now we're just at the end of our week when everything's just super laid back, no work, just chilling all weekend. So we're just gonna lay it all out tonight, I think. So Josh just got off his 48-hour shift, I think, so he should be good to go.
Went for a little run. I might fall asleep halfway through the episode, but hey.
You might have to take a few calls during the episode, you never know.
Yeah.
Then, so. But anyway, I think we got a lot to get into today.
We do.
Yeah. Starting right off the bat, because I don't want to forget this. Oh, and he's got his bush to go with it. Nice. Nice, a nice
This is
little
just like rocketed
foam.
it on the other side of the room.
Yeah, it looks like it.
All right. Sorry,
I'll put
go
it
ahead.
in slow-mo in post. Yeah, so I just want to get straight into it because I don't want to forget it. But yeah, Morgan Wallen's that album's now sat with us now for I guess 2 weeks. It's been. I remember when we announced it like 2 episodes ago. I think it was that night it was coming out. So it's crazy. It's already been 2 weeks because I feel like I've known this album now. I don't know what the same for you, but I feel like I've known it for months now. Like it feels like an album I've been listening to for a long time. I now feel like every single song now is like, it's crazy to think it's a 36 track album, yet I feel like I know every single one of the songs like by heart.
Totally.
Maybe not all of them because I know Had It I probably don't know by heart, but I mean it's crazy. I remember seeing 36 albums or songs when it first came out, and I was like, this is a little stressful. I'm gonna have to really focus on this album. I don't know. I hope I like it. And next thing you know, like listening to 36 songs was like the easiest thing in the world, and I keep doing it on repeat now. So
Yeah.
that's how good it is. That is my point.
Yeah. That first week, remember we talked about it, and I literally said, I was like, yeah, I've probably listened to it like 5 times.
Yeah.
It's that exact same thing. I would just turn it on, and it would play all the way through, and then when Spotify starts to play like other artists like similar, that's when I would realize it would be like during work. I'd realize like, oh, I just listened through the whole thing. I'd go back, click another song, restart it, listen back through.
Yep.
So
I mean, that's
Yeah,
what I've been doing at work too. Is just letting that thing play. It's like I can't listen to anything else.
yeah, dude, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's that thing when you like listen to a genre or like a band like consistently every day. It's like becomes very like hard to transition into like different music. It's like, because that's like the vibe I am in right now. It's like I can't get out of it. Not really. I haven't listened to other stuff too. I'm not that much of a sad boy, but
yeah. You were saying when we started this, so you just obviously covered Devil Don't Know. Devil Doesn't Know? Devil Don't Know?
Devil Don't Know. Yeah.
Devil Don't Know on the
Heard that
piano,
song so
and
many
then
times
you were
now.
just listening to Dying Man, and I was just listening to Had It. So the reason I started listening to that more, not really the reason, but somebody posted some TikTok about it, and they said that lyrically it lines up as a sequel's probably the bad term, but it lines up with Last Night, where I don't know the exact lyrics. Like we could pull a breakdown of it, but someone was like, "This has got to be."
Here.
So the lyrics of Last Night is basically like they break up.
Oh, they break up. See your tail lights.
It's like they break up, they get back together. Like, but baby, something's telling me this ain't over yet. So it's basically like a big, like they break up. They have like a rough relationship, but they eventually like rekindle things, get back together. It's kind of what the vibe seems like. So then Had It, it's basically they break up for good, is what this seems like.
I haven't heard this one in a while. I
So
did it.
this one's really good. That's always the case. As soon as you like learn more about a certain song, it like all of a sudden sounds better. I don't know.
Oh,
if you
it
ever
definitely
feel that way.
does. That's fact. Yeah.
But yeah, so they basically break up permanently, and so if you listen to Last Night, it has like a much different vibe to it because it's still like more upbeat, and they're talking about how they break up, but then stuff isn't over. He keeps getting back together. So people say this it naturally flows. So I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Not a ton there, but it lyrically it lines up.
I didn't know that. I mean, that's pretty cool. And I hadn't heard that one. I guess that's one I must have skipped over a good bit.
It's towards the end. It's like towards the very end of the album.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Also, still on Morgan. So before I came here tonight, classic. I was talking to my mom, and by the way, Jam Francis is throwing a rager right now at that house. So
he needs to calm down. All right.
Yeah, a church rager.
Oh.
Not good. Yeah, their group is called
not
Thrive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're rowdy right now. But anyway, I was talking to my
good.
mom inside, and I was jamming out the piano. I do that every day, nothing new. And I told her, I was like, yeah, I was like, have you been following? You probably haven't seen my Instagram stories, but I've been trying to play like every day. I've played like a new Morgan Wallen song off the new album, and put it up in my story. And she's like, oh, that's cool. I was like, yeah, you know who Morgan Wallen is? She's like, no. And I was like, well, I didn't think you did, but
yeah.
I was like, you might actually like a few of these songs. And she listens to, I was surprised. She has like Kane Brown and Zach Brown Band and a few other country artists on her phone that she'll listen to from time to time. But anyway, so I was like, well, dang. So I hooked her up with a few Morgan Wallen songs, Devil Don't Know, 98 Braves.
Nice.
After that, I was like, then I started getting like really self-conscious. Like, what if she reads too much into lyrics?
Yeah.
Starts believing that the lyrics are like about me or something,
yeah.
or like
yeah.
whatever. And I don't know, just like
yeah.
whatever. So I was like, it's out of my control. Though I had to give up. I'm like, oh, whatever. I can't keep talking about this. Go listen to it.
Cameron, are you going through a really hard breakup right now?
Exactly.
No, Mom, I'm not. Really? Because these lyrics all kind of point to that. I just thought it was a good song. It's like,
yeah, exactly. And yeah, she was playing like Keith Whitley, I think, when I left.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she was like, who's Keith Whitley? And I was like, same. I don't know. That's what I said.
yeah.
Keith Whitley.
Yeah. A country artist, right? I also didn't know. But
oh yeah, should we just like find out who the frick Keith Whitley?
He's a famous country artist, I believe.
Yeah, all the people who listen to country music listening to us are probably pissed off right now. What the frick? You don't know frickin' Keith Whitley?
Come on, how the frick do you not know who Keith Whitley is?
Who's a legend?
For me.
Okay. This is him. American singer. All right. Was he a country artist?
Good.
Oh, it's all about his death. Yeah, let's see. Was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead at age
34.
Oh, 34. The official cause of death was acute alcohol poisoning. Oh, ethanolism.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a word. Ethanolism. Wow. Davidson County Med. Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. But okay. Oh, dang.
0.47. Holy crap.
Oh, so that's why he uses his name throughout this album. Oh. Well, that changes. That actually makes it a little deeper. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of glad I looked that up. Because I said, like, I know I didn't say exactly this 2 weeks ago, but I was saying, like, how there sounded like there were, I was talking about Christian innuendos before. That's not what I'm talking about now. But there's a lot of just, I've said before, it's a very authentic and real album, I felt like, where he's kind of just being honest and kind of pouring his heart out. And so I think that's kind of cool. Well, it's not really cool, but it kind of goes with the whole theme of the album, which I think he wrestles a lot with, like alcohol, drinking, and whatever. But he has Keith Whitley, not only a song named after him, but he uses Keith Whitley in another song. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember that song?
He does, yeah. I don't know if it's in Whiskey Friends or if it's in another one.
Yeah, it's Whitley. Yeah, I think he just says Whitley in Whiskey Friends.
He says Whitley in it, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, nice. Good job. Yeah, so Anyway, we could yeah. Well, maybe that's enough Morgan Wallen for now. But anyway, I thought I'd at least do some digging into that. It's a great
Yeah.
album. Such a
Great
good
album.
album. It just really
Yep.
spoke to me. So, yeah.
Yep. Everyone go listen to it.
Yeah.
Use our code when you listen to it.
Imagine that you could give promo codes for streaming music.
Yeah. Who told you about this song? The Don't Cry
Yeah.
podcast did.
or you like get like a minute and 30 seconds into a song, then it like says, "All right, your free trial's expired. Pay 99 cents to finish
Yeah.
the song."
Yeah.
It's like the guys in the BMWs, those memes when they're like they try to use their horn and it says like 10.99 to use your horn.
Oh yeah. You're on the base plan to upgrade to use your horn. Upgrade to Pro.
Yeah.
For
Or it's like
BMW,
their
it's upgrade to Super Douche to use your horn. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love those. So
Yeah.
good. But yeah, so anyway, oh man.
Yeah.
I guess I had oh, yeah, you remember back in the day I used to talk about sentimental country music and how much I hated it?
I know. Yeah, to Sam, because you'd always say, yeah, Sam listens to freaking sentimental country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't because it actually was not. I did not like it because I didn't like Sam. That's not why. I didn't like it just because I didn't like it. I guess I didn't really have a deep rooted reason. I just was
Yeah.
like, if I'm good at that point in my life, if I was gonna listen to country music, it was gonna be like upbeat summertime country music. Because I was just dipping my feet in at that point. But then I think later on in life, I started to also enjoy the sentimental country music. And I will
became
say,
a sad boy, and now he
Yeah,
likes the sad boy
there you
genre
go.
across
great.
music. Yeah.
All sad boy music. That's right. I actually, I guess it's just true. But I guess I just do. But yeah, that whole Morgan Wallen album is like, yeah, definitely sentimental.
Yeah.
And I love
Which
it.
which is why I said the other day where I was like, oh, you must be pandering with this post. I've never heard you listen to country music. Part of it was because I don't think I've ever heard you listen to like deep country
Yeah.
music. It's
The
been
thing
like,
is, I knew what you meant.
yeah. Yeah.
I didn't want to acknowledge it though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I was like, what are you talking
you'll-
about? I always listen to
yeah.
country music.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, like Florida Georgia Line's on, and it's like some summer like vibe song, and it's like, oh okay,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
So, yeah, great job,
Yeah.
Morgan. Great job on an amazing album. Let us know if you ever
Yeah.
want to come on the pod and maybe do a little quick review about it. I'm sure nobody else has asked yet, so
Yeah.
you can come on the TCP. We'll treat you right.
yeah. This seems like the first podcast he'd go on, actually.
Yeah. If I were him, I'd want to go on the TCP.
Yeah.
Kick it with the
Yeah.
boys for a bit.
Speaking of new country albums, Luke Combs had a new album drop today.
Oh,
I have not listened to it yet, but new Luke Combs album. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
I probably couldn't talk much about it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do like Luke Combs. He's probably not my go-to. I don't know.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
He's got that one song though, ice something tall something ice cold beer. Was it? Is it that? Long neck ice. Yeah, long neck ice cold
Oh.
beer.
Beer Never Broke My Heart. Is that Luke
Yeah.
Combs?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
because I remember that one because at Zach Davis's. This is in 2019. Zach Davis's bachelor party
Bachelor
out
party.
in the middle of nowhere or whatever. Like they were freaking blasting that song like the entire time. Long neck ice cold every day. You're like, wake up, boom, that song starts playing. My gosh. Oh wait, did you see the? Yeah, you definitely saw the John Wick clip.
That was freaking wild.
I actually thought it was a dummy at first.
I did
Like,
too.
the guy just so stiff as he falls down.
Yeah, just pushed him down.
Would you do that for a John Wick movie?
Oh, 100%.
It can't be that bad, right?
Yeah. I'd
Fair
just
He's wearing armor.
toss myself down an escalator wearing some armor.
Yep.
All right, you got to wonder for those. Can you not just get like a freaking huge concussion from that? Like that's not going to protect you from a concussion.
No, I bet he has padding though in his head.
And I guess you got to fall correctly, but like
I guess that's a part of the
Jeez.
profession is learning how to fall.
yeah, learning how to fall.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
probably
that's
literally what he
fair.
is a professional faller. I mean, I would guess. I bet. I mean, I'm sure there's people that just fall for a living. I don't know.
You know who
Like,
else falls for a living? Joe Biden. Ho
you're not wrong.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you know what we got to talk about is this TikTok hearing. That's what I sent you. Have you been paying attention to this at all? The TikTok CEO is testifying in front of Congress. Are you in the loop in this at all?
No.
All right, so this actually happened under Trump initially. Trump was like, "We're going to ban TikTok in the U.S." That didn't happen. And then Congress passed a law, like silently, that basically gives I don't know the exact details of it. Basically allows the president and or Congress to ban apps without having to go through some kind of normal path like they normally do with voting and whatever. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. We could look it up. But basically, so Biden came out like a week or two ago and is like, we're going to potentially ban TikTok again try to ban TikTok again in the US if China doesn't like give us transparency that they're not handling US data because it's owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company. So he's like, so I guess in order to do that, the TikTok CEO is now testifying in front of Congress to answer all their questions about what they're doing with data privacy and user data and all this stuff. And the content out of this is unbelievable. So they have all these incredibly dumb congressmen and congresswomen, women that are asking these questions to the TikTok CEO, who's like a super sharp guy. And they're like the funniest thing ever. So we absolutely should pull up some of these videos. All right, check the thing I sent you in chat.
White full PNG? Did you mean to send that?
Oh, frick, did it paste the wrong thing?
There's a Twitter one, but there's also the top one, which is...
Oh, yeah. That's my white background. Oh, my gosh. So this is a congressman asking questions to the TikTok CEO.
Oh, okay, this will be good.
Yeah.
I want to talk specifically right now. Can you say with 100% certainty that TikTok does not use the phone's camera to determine whether the content that elicits a pupil dilation should be amplified by the algorithm? Can you tell me that?
We do not collect body, face, or voice data to identify our users. We do not.
You don't?
He doesn't believe
No. The only face data that you'll get, that we collect, is when you use the filters to have, say, sunglasses on your face. We need to know where your eyes are.
Why do you need to know where the eyes are if you're not seeing if they're dilated?
And that data is stored on your local device and deleted after use if you use it for facial. Again, we do not collect body, face, or voice data to identify our users.
I find that hard to believe. It's our understanding that they're looking at the eyes. How do you determine what age they are then?
What?
We rely on dating as our key age assurance. Age dating, which is when you ask the user what age they are. We have also developed some tools where we look at their public profile to go through the videos that they post to see whether...
Well, that's creepy. Tell me more about that.
It's public. So if you post a video that's...
It's the internet.
Where to go public, that's how you get people to see your video. We look at those to see if it's not just the age that you talked about.
My gosh.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's so crazy to me. It's like explaining so we got one more we can react to, but they're quite literally having to explain how the internet works to these people.
Dude.
And they're like asking the pupil dilation question is the most Facebook boomer question I've ever heard.
Yep.
I heard on TikTok that they watch your pupils and see if your pupils dilate. It's like, why would you ever even ask that? like
what are
also, your phones quite literally show you with a little light when your camera is being used. Like Apple does that for privacy for a reason.
And
so like physically, if your camera's on, you see that your camera's on.
Right. The little orange dot.
So
yeah.
there's no way to get around that. They just have no idea how technology works.
Clear, like, no eye comprehension. It's crazy. And I mean, it's just wild to me because I remember seeing the hearings with Mark Zuckerberg in Congress, and it's the same thing. It's like explaining, it's literally like explaining a simple concept to a child, it seems like. Like, these are very simple things, and the Congress is like, just cannot for the life of them wrap their head around these concepts. And it's just
crazy.
At a certain point, I think we should just have, we don't, for the time being,
term
we might
limits?
just, maybe, but but I was going to say that. I was just going to say, maybe we just need like whatever people that are the Congress that are working with the internet, this should be maybe specific people that actually know how it works, not these guys who have no clue whatsoever is going on, and they think, oh, you had to look at someone's eyes to put the sunglasses on? Or why would you need their eyes for that?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. All right. So now pull up the second one. It gets worse.
Oh, gosh.
Shoot, does TikTok...
It's on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand the...
So if I have a TikTok app on my phone and my phone is on my home Wi-Fi network, does TikTok access that network?
It will have to access the network to get connections to the internet, if that's the question.
Is it possible that it access other devices on that home Wi-Fi network?
Congressman, we do not do anything that is beyond any industry norms. I believe the answer to your question is no. It could be technical. Let me get back to you.
Okay, I'd appreciate it if you can answer that.
What? Does TikTok use the home Wi-Fi to get internet connection?
Dude,
Bro.
the responses out of this are so funny.
Holy. Yeah.
I love his answer. He's like, if the user has Wi-Fi turned on, I might not be understanding the question.
Oh my gosh,
if
dude.
it's connected to the Wi-Fi, does TikTok have access to it? Well, you would need it to access the internet. So I believe the answer is yes.
How far back do we need to go? Do we really need to start from ground zero and say, okay, the internet, we'll start there? And okay, so the internet, actually, this is how it works. And this is how Wi-Fi works. This is a phone. Do we really need to go back to the basics? Because, at this point, it just sounds like Congress should be talking to, Apple or, the people who make the phones. Or
honestly.
Whatever. This has nothing to do with TikTok or Twitter or whatever. This is just basic understanding of technology. Oh, my gosh. That is wild.
If my phone is connected to my charger, does TikTok steal my home's electricity?
That'll be the next one.
Yeah. If I'm scrolling through the app, is TikTok gathering my fingerprint data as I swipe on the screen?
Yeah.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how internet and technology works.
I don't even think these congressmen know what they're trying to get at in the first place. They don't even know how to arrive at the issue that they have. So they don't even know how to get there.
It's crazy.
It's just they don't understand the basic human knowledge that it takes that would make technology like this an issue or a privacy issue, but they don't even know how to arrive at that point. How do we? I don't even know. They don't know how to get there. They can't have a conversation about it.
I read a really in-depth. Some dude, again, probably no facts to back this up, but I guess there's all these theories that Facebook and Instagram, which are one and the same because they're owned by Meta, that they've lobbied to pass laws that, shoot, I'm forgetting now what it is, but I saw something that said that Facebook and Instagram have lobbied pertaining advertisement and stuff related to Reels and short form stuff like TikTok, and those directly go after TikTok. And so there's all these theories that Meta has lobbied Congress super heavily to pass this law to ban TikTok in the US to funnel all the traffic back to their platforms with Reels and Facebook Reels and all this stuff. I remember the law now. Meta is defunding their payment program for Reels. So creators putting Reels on Facebook, they were paying them out. Apparently, they're removing the funding and just keeping the ad revenue and the revenue for themselves rather than paying it out. And
Facebook
so
is?
people, yeah. And I guess Facebook has Reels. I quite frankly have not opened Facebook in months, but I guess they have Reels on there. Obviously, Instagram has Reels. But I guess if they were to remove TikTok in the US, obviously all of the short form content that people can consume goes to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And so that funnels 150 million users because TikTok has 150 million users in the US. And so all of those users would have to funnel back into Facebook, Instagram, owned by Meta. So there's some interesting theories there.
So yeah, it's a huge deal for Meta to go through with this or to get their way here. I mean, they become the monopoly that they essentially were.
Yeah. And so based on all these questions, people are like, there's virtually no questions being asked here that are of substance. So if they follow through with this and still pass this law that bans TikTok, it's going to reflect like very obviously that they were lobbied by somebody or someone to make this happen because there has been quite literally nothing out of this trial so far. Or I don't even know if trial is the right word, but hearing.
I wonder if we're headed for like, what if like all of this conflict between Meta and TikTok, which is Chinese, obviously. What if this is like what turns into World War III?
World War III triggers off of TikTok being banned in the US.
Dude, if you think about it though, that I feel like that could be a liable, valid reason to a catalyst to creating a war, or in a way, maybe not world war, but because if we're able to, if the U.S. bans TikTok, I mean, that Chinese company takes a major hit. I mean, and so, which is probably, infiltrated and probably has a lot of the Chinese government probably controls a lot of the ownership of TikTok, I'm guessing. And which is the whole reason why I think the U.S. doesn't like TikTok is because the Chinese government is involved in that. So if we do ban it, then I don't know. I feel like that might raise some more it might get a little heated between us and China, and it might turn into a war. Who knows?
Yeah,
the war of TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that China owning it is a valid concern from the U.S. perspective in terms of data, and that's part of what this trial was supposed to be, was them covering like where the data lives and all that stuff. And so, from what I've heard, so TikTok's actually headquartered in L.A. and Singapore. It's actually not even allowed in mainland China, is what the CEO was saying. So you can't actually even access TikTok there. I guess there's a sibling app in China people use. And so he was talking about how the data itself is being stored in US based servers. Obviously you can transfer data and, that's not the whole picture of it, but they're trying to identify where the data lives to see, like, that's kind of the root cause here. If they can figure out, hey, is the data being withheld and not like funneled back to China for their own use, obviously could stay. I don't know. There's so much to this, but
wow. Yeah, I didn't realize all that was going on, but I mean, I knew TikTok was on the brink of being banned. I thought the House I thought already passed something for that, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what laws come into play with this, but
right. Yeah. Honestly, hats off to these Twitter representatives or whatever, because I don't know how they. I would either be infuriated and just so annoyed by the lack of understanding, and I would, snap, or it would just be too laughable to keep a straight face.
Yeah,
I don't know how that guy does
CEO. He's handling stuff super well. I don't know anything about him. That's the first time I knew that he was the CEO of TikTok, but the way that he has answered all their questions has been about as good as you can do. So.
Oh, that was their CEO. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Huh. To any D&D players out there, let us know, because I kind of knew people like that in middle school, and I know that there's people my age who still play it, so I don't want to dog it yet.
I do.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I mean, isn't the whole concept of D&D that it's imaginary might be the wrong term? Isn't it like imaginary? Like, don't you
feel like
create your own
that's-
game?
That's what something like that.
I thought it was like you have somebody that's like the
Oh,
master or whatever, and then you like create your own thing. I don't know. Maybe there's more guardrails and stuff. We know nothing about this, but I thought like most of it was imagination and like creativity.
Yeah, I think they. Yeah, that's what I've always thought, and I think they play it something like that in Stranger Things. If it's not that, I remember all the kids or the boys were always
Yeah.
playing that game in their basement. So I think it was D&D, but
So
That's what
like,
it always
what is
seemed.
this movie gonna be?
yeah,
Imaginary, and they just make stuff up on the fly.
yeah, it's a lot of
Like, maybe.
fantasy.
Maybe, like, I guess that kind of be a cool concept where like they're like creating their world like Inception style. Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I have no clue because I don't know anything about
Yeah.
it. I just know the
Anyways,
cover looks chaotic, but
If you know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, leave us a comment.
yeah, we're
We'd
just
love to
really
hear-
excited to learn about Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, we would love to have you on. Asai?
I was like, you ain't coming on this podcast. That's right.
Yeah. Oh. Also, nerd. We'll continue on the nerd trend here. Do you know what Unreal Engine is?
Yeah.
The game engine.
Yeah.
So Unreal Engine 5 has been out for, I don't know, a year or 2 or 3, and they're basically adding all these updates. So 5.1 came out. They just announced 5.2. The stuff they're doing is unbelievable. We could react to this if you want. This is actually, I mean, this could be a super nerdy
okay.
segment. The video is crazy. Like the stuff that
share
they're
it?
doing. Yeah, I'll share it. It is some wild stuff. I watched it last night. Super popular game engines, how most of these big game creators what they use to like build out their maps and stuff. Just play it from here.
For photoreal foliage environments, as well as testing out the latest functionality that we've been building for Unreal Engine.
You want to full screen that?
Jacob's here with us today in the other way to do that than off-roading. And what better way to off-road than in a Rivian R1T?
Oh, no way.
So
Now,
everything you
Rivian
see here is
uses
rendered.
Unreal to power their instrument cluster, including 3D visualization of their vehicles. So we worked with them to bring the R1T to
Holy.
life in this experience. Let's head on out, Jacob.
Sure thing, on my way.
All right. So we're building tools for interactive and dynamic worlds. So here we have chaos physics simulating rocks that tumble as we drive over them, leaves bend out of the way, and we also added some real-time fluid simulation. We worked with the team at Rivian to set up Unreal's chaos vehicle model to simulate the suspension of the truck and how the electric motors drive each individual wheel. Chaos also simulates how the tires compress and deform, and Meta Sounds enabled the team to precisely resynthesize the sounds of the electric motors and mix them with the ambisonics of the jungle.
All right, pause it really quick. So just the lighting on that and that shot like under the wheels, all this being like totally rendered is just nuts. Like the stuff that they're able to get from this is crazy.
That's insane.
Like the photorealism of it, it's like you could almost show this to somebody.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't know that this is a video, like an engine that's creating this and not just a video of real
That's
life.
true. I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could convince someone that.
Now, of course, you can't order a Rivian with Opal body panels, but Opal was the internal code name for this project and also a really great demonstration of Substrate's capabilities. The base layer models the iridescence, refraction, and reflections that occur inside of an opal. And on top of that is a layer representing the polished surface and how light is absorbed as it travels through that clear layer of varying depths. And now we can add back on the dust and dirt layers. And notice how the reflection changes when interacting with the dust layer, and that there are no artifacts along the transition from dirt to dust to opal.
Well,
But
I
they
wanna
can
see
like
it.
they can generate worlds based on existing.
So Jacob's going to go ahead and add a procedural assembly to the world. And the cool thing is that it communicates with other nearby procedural elements in the scene, like the creek bed. So let's say a designer comes by, wants to direct the player to drive to the left. Jacob can simply move the assembly to the right, and everything updates to accommodate that change.
So it's basically
That's crazy.
they're enabling like unbelievable amounts of stuff that game designers can do. And that shot where they were panning like the side of the truck, like they've pretty much been able to master exactly how light interacts with surfaces in real life is now like 1-to-1 mapped in the game. So like we're getting unbelievably close to not being able to tell between like a video versus a generated like world via video game, like via an engine like this.
That's wild. Yeah, you could legitimately watch that and think it was real depending on the shot, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
we still have some years. Like basically these updates will come out, like the technology is available, and they basically need to drop this in the hands of the big game studios and the game developers, and then the games that come out in 2 to 3 years will look like that. So we're still a few years off, but all these new games being built now that are like starting now is going to be using all this technology. So like they're going to continue to just be crazy. So some of the open world games from like 2-3 years out from now are going to be in like a whole different place.
Okay, this is interesting. I wonder if big if, as I don't know the future, could this actually open up the door for making a legitimate claim that video games do create violent people because of how real it's going to look? Could people like psychologically mix up reality from gaming?
Yeah, I mean
point? I think that's
visually yes. This is a more like an ethical and moral, bigger question of like, if I play violent video games, can I go up to somebody in real life that I can physically interact with and have the same, be able to basically turn off those receptors in my brain that are like,
kill him.
Harming is like that harming is an unnatural thing to do,
Will the Grand Theft the Grand Theft Auto mode turn off when you're in real life? I don't know.
That's right. That's what people were saying for this is like, give me this in GTA and I can like very realistically run people over. It's like, oh gosh. So,
do you think at a certain point it'll just be so real that there'll be like heavy debates whether it's even okay for certain content to be a video game because it looks so real? I don't know. I feel like we've already reached that though. Like I feel like, well, I don't know.
We've reached that from movies by a long shot. I mean,
what do you mean?
Think about the amount of gore and stuff that's shown in movies and TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that in a video game format's not really any different. I mean, yes, you were the actor in
that's
that,
true.
so to speak.
Well,
but
I think
like,
that's the biggest difference is that when you're in a game, you're actually the one controlling it all.
You're the one doing it. Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Which is a big difference between watching something just take place and being the one in charge of what takes place.
That's fair. There's there's been a bunch of psychological studies on this. Have you ever heard of the Stanford prison experiment?
Yeah, dude, that's crazy because I feel like my entire life I've always brought up the Stanford prison experiment since I was like early high school because I remember learning about it.
Yeah.
But no one else has ever known about it. I feel like every time I tell someone, no one knows about it. So that's actually really cool you knew it. Maybe I don't know if we ever established that before, but go ahead. What were you going to say about that?
Well, I mean, it's similar. It's that exact concept of where, like, psychologically, how can you influence people to do something like this? Video games is a little bit different because you're not being forced. It's like your own will, which is almost worse. But like the whole Stanford prison experiment, and there's one other one, I don't remember the name, but it was a similar concept where they told somebody, by you pressing this button, you're inflicting an electric shock on somebody in another room, and they could hear them. And they basically continued to tell them to like keep ramping up the charges. And in reality, nobody was being electrocuted. And I don't remember the exact outcomes out of it, but it was something similar where it's like, if you're given instructions to like potentially harm somebody, how does that influence you, and where do you start to like, where does your values interfere with those instructions? Stanford Prison Experiment was that same thing where they like had the what was it, the guards, the prison guards were, doing all of these crazy things, and they got so into character that they were doing these like really inhumane things to the prisoners, and the whole thing was like an experiment. Like they all knew that they weren't actually in prison or actually doing whatever, but they kept going with it. So there was a lot of outcomes out of it. So I don't know. There's a lot of it's an interesting point with how this ties over to like photorealistic video games, but I don't know the total implications of it.
Yeah. I've always loved talking about the Stanford Prison Experiment. It's so fascinating because it's just like a very real example of how your environment can truly shape what you think and believe. It's incredible. And yeah, until, I mean, if you haven't, by the way, I don't know if have you seen the movie that came out for it a few years back?
No, I remember seeing it come out in the trailer and stuff. I never actually watched it.
It's really good. It's really good. It's very intense, as you could imagine. But yeah, it's an incredible movie. But it really makes you think. Like a lot of people, you don't really like. I think when I was younger, I would just think, nah, I am who I am, and like I believe what I believe. My environment could never have that kind of influence or whatever. But I mean, then I remember learning about that when I was younger, and I was like, really? Can this really happen? That someone could actually just fully believe something and embody it because that's what they're in every single day and being told every day. I mean, it is pretty crazy. Yeah, it's for anybody who doesn't know, I'll just say real quick. Stanford Prison Experiment, by the way, was when there was a group of psychology students at Stanford, I believe, and the professor wanted to do an experiment where they actually went into not a real jail, but I think it was just a mock-up jail they had created or something, and they had some students were labeled guards and the other students were labeled inmates, and they would do this experiment to see how humans psychologically react, or how they would live out in this kind of environment, knowing they don't have to be there, knowing that they're not a real prisoner and they can leave whenever they want. They wanted to see what would actually happen, and I'm trying to remember, but like I got to a point where a lot of the inmates at a certain point, like these students, really they had convinced themselves that they were truly in prison and couldn't leave. And I think
I think on the flip side, the guards were enforcing things like really heavily.
And they got carried away.
Everything got carried away a little bit.
Yeah. And I towards the end of the movie, I think I remember one of the guys, they had to like his parents came in and they had to like convince him like this isn't real. Like you can leave, like you're not an actual prisoner. That's how far it got. Like they truly believe they were prisoners. Maybe not all of them, but it's just a wild story about the human psychology or psyche, really. How it works.
Did you ever read The Wave, the book called The Wave in high school or middle school?
No.
So same concept, fascinating book. It's called The Wave, and this history teacher, I think it was high school students, he basically wanted to teach on the topic of Nazi Germany. His students couldn't understand how could Nazi Germany happen. Like how could you have an average German citizen be willing to join the Nazi party and like inflict all these things to the different races that were involved there as part of like the whole genocide there. And so what he did was he wanted to model that. So he did same thing, kind of an experiment where he started a group called The Wave. I think that's what it was called. And he started this group and he was like, this is going to be like a really entertaining thing where we like meet together and form community. And I don't remember exactly what they were doing, but he's like, let's start this group and you can invite your friends to join it and we'll do these activities and different stuff like this. And basically started this group, and what it led to was he mimicked what Nazi Germany was doing with their like
indoctrination.
So he held all these events and he like pumped all these people up and like really got into their minds that they were part of this like really elite group, and that you were like really valued if you're part of it, and if you weren't, like you weren't allowed to attend these events and you weren't allowed to do all these things. So it like continues to build to where they were like bullying other students that weren't in the group, and all this stuff. And it like he basically mimicked what happened, obviously on a smaller scale in
Wow.
but it was the exact same concept where it's like, how do you slowly, it's like the frog being boiled to death, where it
Yep.
starts in lukewarm water and eventually it dies. It's like, how do you do that with groups like this? And there's all these experiments that have shown not how easy it is, but it's pretty darn simple to get people like indoctrinated into certain things like that.
All it takes is that literally that first person to get another person and then another person. It's like the social experiments you've seen in public where like one person is dancing on a beach and everybody thinks
Yeah.
they're weird, and then everybody joins in or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it goes.
You get two or
It's-
three people that join them, and then all of a sudden,
Now they're not the weird
Like-
ones; they're the cool ones. That's
Yeah.
what's in.
like,
all of a
oh, I
sudden.
want to be part of that. That looks like I'm getting
Yeah.
FOMO if I'm sitting out of it, kind of a thing.
Mhm. So you
So-
can take a dark concept like that and apply it, and it works. So which is crazy. It's just, yeah, humans are capable of probably more than we can really
Yeah.
imagine sometimes. Because it's like, man, like if I was in that environment, I want to think like I wouldn't fall to
Right.
whatever the belief was being passed on. But
Yeah.
dang, 10 episodes in, guys. And this thing ends
Cruising.
next week. Or, I mean, this is the last episode, so appreciate
Yep.
you guys
You-
being here for the ride.
You'll never hear from us again.
That's it. We went full force for 10 weeks, and then we bounce. We're done. You'll never hear from us again. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But episode number 10, yeah. So, yeah, thanks for tuning
Yeah.
in once again, everybody.
Yeah, thanks all for tuning in. We appreciate it. And here's to the next 10. Aha.
Aha! Next 10, that's right. All right, well, we'll see you on next week's episode of the Town Crier Podcast for Season 2. Should we do it Season 2,
Right.
Episode 1?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
We'll see. No promises yet.
Yeah, we'll
But-
put up a teaser trailer for season 2.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thank you all. Leave us a comment on Instagram or YouTube. Let us know
Leave-
where you're watching from.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
checking in live from Virginia.
Yeah,
Hey, it's
put
me
your-
watching from Denver.
Put your town and your full address in the comments below.
Let us know your name, your town, last 4 of your social.
Yeah, that's right. Make sure we know your town though.
Aha. I get it. That took me a
Because you're
second.
if you're a crier and you're in a town, you're a town crier. So
That's right.
anyway.
All
All
right.
right. Well, I guess we'll see you on next week's episode. So
Sounds
all right.
good.
See
See
you
you all
then.
next week. Peace.
Peace.